BeastNet Podcast, sponsored in part by James Safety Services, OCR Buddy, and supported by the fitness community. Here we discuss all things fitness related, running, rucking, mental health and preparedness, and of course, obstacle course racing. Welcome to the BeastNet.
Everybody out there in BeastNet land, Brother Boggs here on a beautiful day, talking with Matt and Melissa. We're going to talk about My Snowy Valentine. It was supposed to be My Muddy Valentine, but there wasn't an ounce of mud on that course other than the little bit that Matt found and actually crawled in. And I think he was the only person to do half the obstacles because everything had about 2 inches of ice on it. But hey, for those who don't know you guys, why don't you guys introduce yourselves and tell them a little bit about you?
Okay, I'm I'm Melissa Jensen. I don't really know what to say. I always feel like I'm on the spot and then I just lose everything about myself. Like, who even am I? But
you run for a reason, right?
I do run for a reason. This year, I've decided that I'm racing for recovery. So I'm trying to do as many OCRs as I can in the year. Well, 72 races that I'm trying to do this year.
Only 72.
Only 72. Yeah. One down. 71 more to go.
And you're a personal trainer, fitness trainer.
Yes, I am a personal trainer. I've been doing that for a little while. I've been into fitness for a few years now. So I used to use, drugs and alcohol back in the day. And I've been clean now for about 5.5 years. Fitness has been a major part of my story. And so now I just want to help others.
Awesome. Matt?
All right. Well, my name is Matt. This is my beautiful wife. I'm a low voltage technician, so access control is what I do. I've also been clean from drugs. We actually got off drugs together. So yeah, we used to, be down in the dumps. We just kind of, living life by, drugs terms instead of our own terms. And so we finally got that behind us, and now it's great. We just want people to know that there is there's life after drugs, And so I thought about this correlation, what I was thinking about the other day. So we had never really gone and seen the world and gone places and done things. And that was because we didn't have drugs once we got there. So, quitting drugs, it just opens up all kinds of avenues where you can travel and you can do things and you're not chained down. And I just know the feeling of being chained down and not being able to do and see and go where you want. And we want to let people know that there's another way and help them to achieve their goals. So,
what got you into obstacle course racing?
My wife.
Me.
So by default, you became an obstacle course runner?
I make him do these things with me.
Absolutely. I love it. I absolutely love it. So.
And I forgot, how long have you been doing this, Melissa?
What, the races or?
Yeah, races.
Well, I'm fairly new to the races. Only a couple years now.
2 years, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I've actually never even done a Spartan race before. And this year I have so many.
60 to go?
I have so many. So
just a couple Trifecta things,
I've been working on my burpee time though, so I think I'm good to go.
Does your business need first aid, AED, OSHA, flagging, or other safety training? James Safety Services is your one-stop shop. Find them on Facebook today at James Safety Services WA and ask for a quote on hosting your training needs.
So last weekend, we all kind of got together and shared an adventure. Why don't you guys kind of fill me in on how everything started from pretty much when you got McCarran Airport and everything that proceeded until we finally made it to the course?
So it actually started before McCarran Airport because we had a nice flight, one way from Las Vegas to Portland. It was supposed to leave at 7:45 at night. And at like 6 in the morning, I got a text message saying that my flight was canceled. So I immediately called the airport and I'm like, okay, I need to get into Portland tonight. I have a race first thing in the morning. What can we do? And she's like, okay, they have a flight at 2:45 we can put you on. So I'm like, okay, let's do that. She puts me on that flight. And then before she even finishes, like, I guess like checking us in or whatever, that flight got canceled. So I'm like, well, crap, let me call you back. So I end up finding a flight from Las Vegas to Seattle. And we luckily got onto that flight, get into Seattle, and it's just kind of, lightly snowing once we get into Seattle. And we rent a car. And it's really funny because as we're renting the car, the lady was like, are you sure you don't want to get a 4-wheel drive vehicle? We're like, no, it's okay. We don't need to spend the extra $70. Well, we soon learned we should have spent the extra $70 because we had to drive from Seattle to Portland, which is normally what, like 2.5 hours or something?
Yeah, 2.5, 3 hours is kind of the average.
It took us 5. It took us 5 hours to get there. We were driving 25, 30 miles an hour tops. Like I'm up against the steering wheel like a crazy person. Just, it was terrifying. So then we finally get there. And the next morning we wake up bright and early, try to leave the parking lot, and we get stuck. So my wonderful husband had to dig us out. And then we get to the intersection that's not even a 1/10 of a mile away. And we realize that there's no way we're going to make it.
Do you like the BeastNet? Do you want to keep hearing it? Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and more at BeastNetPod.
So there was this guardian angel who saved the day. And that's when you came in.
Here at BeastNet, we want to make sure our friends get where they're supposed to be. The story on driving in, you guys, do you have a lot of experience driving in snow down there? It sounds like a real big snow paradise, right?
I don't think we've driven in snow.
I've never driven in the snow. Ever.
So you land in Seattle and you get a crash course on how to drive in the snow. Mm-hmm. Up here, we're lucky. We get snow usually once a year, maybe once every 2 years. And it's usually like it was last weekend, one hit and go. I was there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday it's all rain. Portland had an ice storm on top of that. I'll post a couple of the pictures in here and show people, but the obstacles when Matt and I were playing around, because that was mostly what it was playing around.
Yeah.
Covered in 2 inches of ice. So we put, you guys had to drive in 2 inches of ice when you tried to leave in the morning on Saturday to get to the place too. And, I left at 3:30 in the morning from my house in Graham, which is about an hour south of Seattle. So it should have been no more than 2.5 hours on a good day. And I think I picked you guys up, 7:30, 8 o'clock. So a 4 hour drive. So it was a little bit longer than usual, a little surprising. So Saturday morning, I finally get down there and pick you guys up. You're standing on the side of the road. And when I got off the freeway, I noticed that there was semi trucks and delivery trucks and all sorts of trucks pointing every which way. So we pick you up and we go back out to the freeway. And I'm like, well, we can't use any of the on-ramps that it tells us to. So let's try this other way. And we go down and turn around in the airport, which is all ice and snow. And I think you guys were turning a little pale with me having to drive through some of that stuff. But we finally got on the freeway. We had to cut across the Gore Point and avoid all the postal postal semi trucks were the ones that really took up the on-ramp going from the airport to 205 there. Unfortunately, it seems that all of the airmail decided to all come in together and get stuck.
And get stuck together. Yeah.
And even at the end of the day, after the race, when we were all done, what were they doing? They were still blocking that on-ramp with postal trucks, and at least they had tow trucks on site at that point, and they were trying to do something with it. But yeah, even when I dropped you guys off and I headed back north, that same Wonder Bread or whatever it was that was broke down, blocking the on-ramp to go north was still there, and I had to go the other way around that. Saturday morning, I picked you guys up, and we got up on the freeway, and we're like, all right, it's perfect. We're going to go get our race done. We're going to go kick some butt and take some names, and
woo! Psyched.
Yeah, we're ready. We're talking. We're chatting up. We're listening to the Aquabats, you know.
Yes.
A little bit of good music, getting you in the mood for a race, and yeah, we take the first exit that our friend Siri tells us to take, and takes us past quite a few down trees until we can't go anymore. And we're like, all right, well, you know, we're only a mile away from the course. Let's just go around, you know, I show all these other roads to go around. So we turn and go up a real nice steep hill, and we're trying to go around, and Melissa's like, ooh, let me get some pictures of all of these wonderful trees that are covered in 2 inches of ice on every branch. And
never seen that in my life.
now that was the kind of ice storm it was too. It was freezing rain. So as the rain was hitting everything, it was just accumulating ice on it. So as you guys noticed, you know, the ice was just amazing tubules on top of these little tiny sticks.
Mm-hmm.
There was trees down everywhere. So option number 2, we get going that way. We go up that steep hill, start to find other racers that are all lost in the same area. And we get to a spot where there's a tree, and Matt and I are like, you know what? That's not that bad.
We're going to move that tree.
So we hop out, and Matt's like, all right, I'm Macho Matt. And it was funny because it's him and I like jumping in this tree, trying to break off branches because we are so close to the race. Point, I think it's about 8:30. That's Melissa's official elite start time. She needs to be there. And we're on our second option to get to the race. And we're like, all right, we're going to make it. There's no way we're not going to make it now. We're so close. And then we finally break up the tree enough, and then I can see further down the road, and I'm like, crap, that is a much bigger tree down there. And at that point, the other racers are starting to get out of their car because they're going to come down and help us break down trees, I think. But the tree that was further down the hill, I was just like, it's just too much tree. So I get out the phone and look up everything. I'm like, well, look, there's 2 other ways to get there. Let's go try those ways now. So we got a convoy going of 3 different people that are racing. I thought we were going to pick up a 4th, but I guess they chose to, they must have walked in or something because I think I saw that truck there. So eventually they got there, but so we decided to go around. So this is option 3. Now looking at the farm, Lee Farms on a map, there are only 4 ways to physically get there. We've already exhausted 2 of them, and we're going to go around and try the other 2. And just as we're starting to get down there to the farm, there's big old hill, downhill, big hill, uphill, you know, through a little gully there. And you know, at least they'd sanded that. Otherwise, that would have been a real fun bobsledding event. We would have had the Las Vegas bobsledding team.
Yes.
But so we go down there and we get through the next one, and I'll be damned if there's not another tree in the road. And it stuck just far enough out to where I had to slow down and really think about if we wanted to go around it. But you know what? At that point of the day, there was no way we're not getting there. If I had to put my truck in the ditch and walk, I think we were going to do that. So we finally got there. That tree was our last obstacle. And we finally got up there to the farm. We finally parked. I don't know about you guys. As soon as I shut that truck off and stood up, I was already a winner. I'd already. I How did you guys feel when we finally got there?
Relieved.
Yeah.
I mean, it was amazing. I feel like, I mean, that was a journey in itself. Just trying to get to the race.
Yeah, the race. I think I made the joke, and I made a meme for it. It was like the quest to Mordor to get rid of the One Ring.
Yes, it was.
Funny because that's the ring that I'm wearing right now is a One Ring.
Yes.
But it was a quest like that. I mean, we were hours and hours into it. Me starting at 3 a.m, you guys flying into the wrong airport and driving 5 hours, and then, I mean, I don't even know how you got out of the parking lot, honestly, because when I pulled up out there, you had about 2 feet of snow piled up in front of all the cars. So that must have been from Matt out there.
Yeah, there was a lot of shoveling going on at that point. Yeah, about 45 minutes worth. You know?
You just put it all in front of the other cars. That way it made it really look impressive.
Well, yeah, yeah, that's how you got to do it.
The cars were in the way. No.
They were still sleeping. I had a race to run.
So this is our first race. We finally got there. We're in the parking lot. It's the first race of 2021. And just, we're having to remember masks. We're joking and just ready to have fun, changing at the truck because you're not allowed to hang out or change on site. And I joked because I was wearing my galoshes, and I'm like, I think I'm going to do this race in these because it was just nasty snow and ice, thick, nasty snow and ice. But you know what? That was probably the best snow and ice that I felt under my feet in 2021 because the first race, well, for me since September. I don't know about you guys. Did you guys get out and do any races last year, or was it a complete shut?
Only virtuals. Yeah.
So we had up here, just running off subject for a second, we had a little nonprofit up in Snohomish, Washington called Adventure Soccer. Mm-hmm. They do education through soccer in Africa. So they've got a schoolhouse they built over there, and they built some soccer fields, and it's a real great program. And they do a race called the Mud and Muck for Africa race. And it was the only race that I think happened in Western Washington for the whole season. Asked them before, we're like, hey, do you guys want to come on the show and promote it? And it wasn't until I got there and I met Matt, the race director, but he said, man, I'd love to come on the show, but we were afraid to promote it because our governor up here was finding anybody and everybody they could, shutting them down and hitting them with $10,000 a day fines for operating. And he's like, I don't even want to bring any attention to it. The obstacle course racers that know about it, they can come, they can have some fun. We're going to have a good, clean event. But that was at the height of the forest fires. I don't know if you guys saw the pictures on the BeastNet page there. Mm-hmm. Wow, there's a video, of me running and jumping over the hay bales and into the pond. And you can't even see 100 yards past me because of the smoke. But it was the same thing. It was the only race, and we had to be there, and we had to run it. Honestly, I don't even think we got a medal. There might have been a medal. I know I got a shirt. That's the important thing to me, right? Yes. Speaking of shirts. Yes. You guys lost yours, but whatever.
You gotta find it. I'm making a quilt at the end of the year.
Definitely got to do that. Yeah. But so I had one race last year. That was it. And you guys had none. So the quest to get to My Muddy Valentine, which talking afterwards, they might rename it to My Icy or My Snowy Valentine, because 2 out of the last 3 years, it's either been snowing or icy. So they've got a pretty good chance of continuing that trend. But we had to be there. We had to run it. There was no way not to do it. Mm-hmm. And you guys had traveled, I don't know, what is it, 800-900 miles?
Yeah.
1,000 miles. Hours and hours of travel, flying and then driving down. And we finally got there, and they got signs up everywhere talking about, your COVID precautions and hand sanitizer everywhere. And here we are, finally about to go on course. Me, I rucked it because I'm a weird guy. Needed something to hold the flag, really. And then Melissa, you ran it.
Did.
She ran it. Mm-hmm. And Matt and I, we jogged and we goofed around. I mean, there's many of the obstacles, and I'll post some pictures here in the feed showing what happened, but the obstacles were just so covered in ice and snow. A lot of them, Matt was one of the only people to do it because him and I sat there breaking the ice so we could actually get out the obstacles. With you running through it at a good rate of speed, you didn't get to see that part of it. Well, Matt and I were just breaking stuff up. And later in the day, there were still people going out when we left. So maybe they carried the sandbags. Maybe they flipped the tires. I hope so. It turned into more of a trail race than an OCR. I mean, we did have some obstacles. Melissa, I'm sure you're going to tell us a story about the obstacles that you were avoiding.
Yeah.
To finally be on an obstacle course. Finally be back out with our families. We're born into a family and then we choose our family, and our race family is very sacred. And to get out there and to be able to see people, and in some cases people hugged and got close together for the first time with people this year that were outside their family. And it just was a great experience to do that. I want to thank Molly and Aaron, Terrapin Events. They could have called it. They could have woke up, or Thursday night, Friday night, you guys were in the air. They could have been like, hey, it's too much. We can't have this race. But they didn't. And they confirmed it Friday night, sending out another email. We will not cancel. No uncertain terms, we will cancel. Now, granted, I'm sitting there texting Aaron, hey, the roads are all closed. How do we get there since the race isn't canceled? But there was just no way they were going to cancel. The fact that we canceled every single race, every get together, every family event, every meeting, gathering. Heck, we canceled going to church. It's illegal in Washington to go to church indoors. And it's been that way. I think now we can do it at like 100 people inside the entire building. But all of last year it was illegal. You can't gather. They did everything they could to physically distance and socially punish us for a disease. And finally, this race was our chance to get out there and do it. And Terrapin was 100%. There's no way they're not doing it. So again, thank you, Aaron, Molly, all the staff of Terrapin and Lee Farms for hosting it. We needed that.
Yes, we did.
And aside from, even how great it was with your travels and everything, there was, I don't know what the final count was, but every single one of those people that were out there, everybody I talked to, they all needed it. They had to have it. That was something that was missing in all of their lives, all of our lives. And it was great to get out there and do it. Let's talk about the course. Let's talk about, Melissa, how it was for you running, because you ran it. You went, you know what? You guys are too slow. I'm out of here. And you just, ching, gone.
I wanted to place, and I did. So, I mean, I did attempt as many obstacles as I could. There were, like you said, a few that it was just a no-go. Like the sandbags were frozen together. There's like ice 4 inches or 6 inches thick on the seesaw, and I'm like, okay, that's death. But what was worse is the falling trees of death. Those were the obstacles that I was trying to avoid. It's like every, 6 feet, I had more branches falling, and they were big branches. So that was kind of scary, but it made it an adventure for sure. I enjoyed it. I didn't get any mud, no mud whatsoever, but
one of the side effects of those ice storms like that is that after the trees are frozen with all that ice on the outside and weighted down, the slightest wind, they just shatter.
Mhm.
Happening while we were on course. I'm sure you looked at it and you went, how the heck am I supposed to crawl underneath the rope wire? And it was covered in trees. And what are you going to do? I mean, you kind of had to just run over the trees, which trees themselves, the trees, the sticker bushes, you know, there was a lot of obstacles, natural obstacles and falling obstacles, and icy crossing the water obstacles. But I actually posted a video. Matt dropped down and figured out how to crawl underneath the little bit that wasn't completely covered in trees. And like I said, him and I, we messed around. We had a lot of fun. We were just out there taking pictures of people, having fun, running in between a little bit here and there. But you know, you're a competitive racer. I'm not at all a competitive racer. Matt?
Oh, no.
You just want to have fun, right?
That's it.
And so for you, being a competitive racer, you had to figure out how to traverse these things quickly and fast, and how not to break your ankle on the fields of grass with tubules of ice coming up, and the fact that you were running on ice that was 6 inches above the ground. I took some pictures of that, and I'll post them right here. And you could see just how crazy it was in places. I mean, there's a couple times when I almost fell because stepping on that stuff, if it broke underneath you and you were moving at a good pace, your foot slid under.
Yeah.
Lift up and break your foot back out. It was a very interesting ordeal. And myself, I brought 2 pair of shoes and boots. And I had my VJ shoes 05, which is their ice shoes, their studded ice shoes. And that's why there's a few obstacles where it was exposed wood, and I told Matt, I'm like, well, I can't go on there. I got spikes on. I don't want to ruin their stuff. But man, those spikes, they really helped for me being stable, you know, carrying the extra weight and the flag. And every time we went under a tree, I was catching the flag on it and trying to trip myself. The views. Did you take any time to stop and look around when you were running, or was it just straight run?
So whenever I run, especially when I'm outside, like that's why I'm running, to see the beauty. I'm obsessed with beauty and trees, especially, you know, I don't get to see a lot of snow. And so I was in amazement the entire time. So, which was kind of detrimental to me a little bit, because I would be looking off and, you know, roll my ankle a few times. But yeah, I definitely was paying attention to all of the beauty.
The farm there, Lee Farms, is kind of in the outskirts of Tualatin, and there they put you in great positions for some great views. Mm-hmm. If we're lucky, maybe next month on March 13th, when Melissa comes back up here, and this time we might actually have some mud instead of ice and snow. A mud run, but you know, I'll take whatever it is. If I was just telling Matt before the show, it shows 52 and raining in Tualatin that day.
Yes.
Perfect.
Yeah.
And I was also telling him your sister's house down in Salem is a little too far to drive. So hopefully you can get a car that can make the drive.
Might have to pop all-wheel drive this time.
Yeah. Big spending.
Maybe you'll be able to actually fly into Portland too.
Yeah.
That would help.
A whole lot closer.
Mm-hmm.
Running through, Melissa, you said you got to do some of the obstacles. Which ones do you remember any of them really well, or do they kind of blur out?
The hurdles I did, there was some kind of like rope, like jungle gym kind of situation. The field of tires, I don't remember. Oh, the yoga ball up the hill, the wall climb with the rope, the bridge.
They had a lot of unique obstacles,
Yeah.
one of the things that, and one of the reasons I've been promoting Race Local on the show is because Spartan, you'll learn this when you're 60 races, the obstacles are pretty much all the same. You're going to go to all the events, and they have a total of about 35 obstacles that they cycle through, and every sprint is almost the same race. The only thing that changes is the atmosphere. Out to a place like Lee Farms, you've got obstacles that are just built by random people. Matt and I, when we were at the rope jungle, Lorenzo, the guy that designed the rope jungle, was kind of telling us that he didn't really intend to people to actually crawl over it, just to crawl through it and to use it like a spider web device. And we were talking with him about that. And I found at all these local races, you get those unique and in some cases very innovative obstacles. Some of the ones, there was one of the ones that went up in Snohomish earlier last year. They had a corn maze, but it had, you're down on your knees doing your bear crawl, and they've got like stacks of hay and all this stuff, and you're going in between all this, and there's dead ends, and you got all these people that are in it trying to do it, and it's got the camo netting over it so you can't stand up and figure out where you are. Just unique, innovative, different things that you don't see other places. And fortunately, in order to be compact, mobile, and able to put on the same event, places like Spartan, Tough Mudder, they do have the same obstacles. So I love it when we get out to a Race Local event and just look at the different things that they make up and different things they do. It would have been real nice. I'm sure you did the slide. You had to do the slide.
Oh yeah, had to do the slide. I'm like, slide? Yes, I did.
Now, had it not been 2 inches of ice on top of it, it would have been soap and water, and you get a lot more speed. And I've seen pictures and videos from previous years, people really having a lot of fun on that thing. And that's something that, you know, unfortunately, the bigger traveling events, they can't do that because it's hard to build a semi-permanent obstacle like that. And that's what it is at the ones that I go to, they're semi-permanent obstacles. So where did you place, Melissa? I didn't look at results. I kind of went, you know what, I finished, I'm happy, I got my medal, I'm good.
I got first in my age group and third overall.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And given the fact that that course was pretty jacked up with the ice, and the fact that you could really roll some ankles like you're pointing out, and pretty good risk to yourself, that's pretty darn good.
I was pleased.
How did you do, Matt? Did she look for you?
Yeah, she told me. I don't remember. It wasn't. You and I placed the same, and it wasn't. We weren't breaking any records. I'll say that, but.
We averaged out to about a 20-minute mile according to my watch, which, you know, that's a pretty slow mile, but it was a safe mile running in that nasty stuff that we were in. What was your take on the course, Matt?
I thought it was really good. You know, we started off with the walls there. The walls were extremely difficult because of the ice on them, of course. So first time I ran up to that vertical wall and tried to jump up there and grab the top, I couldn't because of the ice. So then I saw someone else do it, and I guess I just ran and grabbed that step and kind of threw myself up there and over the wall. The sandbags were completely iced over, and so that was an obstacle that was different. So we actually had to chip the ice off the bags and to carry the sandbag, you know, to the cones.
I like your dedication.
Yeah, I can verify that you were the first person to actually do the sandbag carry, because before I sat there, you and I, and we could only get one loose.
Yeah, that was it.
Kicking them, and we finally broke through the 2-inch thick ice and got one bag out, and you ran it up the hill and ran it back down, and then the next couple behind us looked at him and just kept running. And, you know, so I don't know how many people actually did that one. It was real, you know, you looked at it and you're just like, am I really supposed to do that right now? I can barely walk on this ice.
Right.
An extra 45-pound sandbag. you out there suffering from a back injury, you're like, you know what? I'm here to have fun.
That's right. That's what we're there for, right?
Exactly. What was the next obstacle? I know we went up the hill and we came down the other side. What was there?
So there was
Those hurdles.
no that was then it was the spider crawl through the webbing. There was also the ninja blocks that we couldn't do because of the half pair of ice on them.
Yeah, I'll put a picture of the ninja blocks right here also, because I was showing people at work today and I showed them the path of ninja blocks before we started trying to chip away to make them useful.
Yeah.
And it was completely not a functional obstacle to even try. But hey, we tried. We tried to get
That
it.
was it. Yeah, we broke off a couple boxes worth of ice. I still don't think it would have been safe to try that. But. And then I think we went on to the seesaw, right?
You did the seesaw?
Yeah, I face planted the seesaw. Yeah, that definitely.
Yeah, that was interesting. Terrapin actually used that video showing you guys coming down, you and the other gal that came through at the same time at the seesaw with us.
Yeah.
And right when it switched and you guys come sliding face first down it. That was a real interesting little seesaw in the middle of nowhere that didn't look all that intimidating until you realized it was all ice.
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah, I fell the last little bit and kind of just rolled head first off the seesaw, so that was fun. And then we had the pullover that we couldn't do because it was just completely covered with ice. That was going to be kind of like a hanging, kind of like a monkey bars, but 2 inches of ice on there wouldn't allow anyone to get a grip on it.
I'm looking at the course on my phone. That's why you see me looking down. Not trying to be weird or rude. I was just trying to figure out what those obstacles were and what they called them. I don't know what that one was. It must have been maybe the one they called syphilis.
Yep.
No, I think syphilis was actually the yoga balls. I don't know. They had weird names. You got syphilis, the shoe grabber. You got carry heavy, the tightrope walk, the beer chug, which we wouldn't partake, but I guess there's supposed to be a beer chug on course about mile 2. Keep that in mind in March. The teeter totter, the creek crossing where we had to walk across that 4-inch wide board, which luckily somebody had broken the ice off before us, but that would have been really interesting walking across the creek.
You're welcome. That was me.
That was you?
Yeah, I thought that was going to be really interesting with you rucking that pack and the flag and everything and walking across that board.
Well, luckily, again, I had those ice spikes, so I was hoping I wasn't going to go anywhere. But there were some spots where when I was doing the hurdles and I got up there, the spikes didn't quite make contact where I needed them to, so it was slippery. So we finished, and it was an amazing thing to get across that finish line. We'd already picked up our medals and our shirts because we had to get all that stuff beforehand because of COVID. It wasn't cross the finish line and get your medal put on you or anything fun. It was cross the finish line, run to your car, get your medal, come back, get some pictures, stuff like that. But we got across the finish line, and of course, Melissa's waiting for us. I was waiting for quite a while. It was maybe a half hour. I don't know, whatever. But she's waiting for us, and we get there, and we get to put these on. And for you guys being over a year without a real race, I mean, there's tons of virtuals. I've had a ton of fun doing virtuals. The Spartan, the Battle Miles, the random rock and roll marathon based ones. We actually did a virtual version of the Seattle Marathon. We did a lot of fun virtuals. But man, to get out there and to actually run a course and get a medal put on, even if it was by ourselves.
It was amazing.
It was everything.
Yeah.
So after the race, we got to get some pictures taken. Lots of pictures. I shared the drive with you guys. I think there's 380 photos in there. And those will finally start coming up when this airs. I've been holding those back, letting Terrapin use some of the photos, and then I was going to start releasing them once this episode airs, because I wanted to match up the episode with the event, because that was just such an amazing. It was 25 degrees out, and I was sweating. I had to take off. I was wearing my all-terrain mitts, the ones that look like mittens, and I could just pull my hands out for obstacles. And I was sweating. I had to take them off because it was just too hot to wear them. It was 25 degrees out. I felt like $1 million when we got done. I don't know about you guys. I'm guessing you probably felt about the same.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm still kind of I'm ready to go again right now. I mean, let's.
Me too. We got back. I'm like, all right, when's my next race? Let's go.
Yeah, this time of year is just so slow on the West in general. Usually, I mean, next month you're going to have the Dirty Leprechaun that you're going to go to, and then you're doing the Spartan Super and Sprint down in Arizona, but they call it Las Vegas. A lot of people refer to it as the Vegas-Zona race. Where are you going in April? Have you got that? I know you got your pad of paper next to you there. You're like, yep, I
sure do. I have, I have a triathlon, and then I have Horseshoe Bend in Montana.
Horseshoe Bend, that looks like an amazing course. I've seen videos of it, pictures of it, and that's one of the ones that, this year I'm probably not going to make it, of course, but maybe here in the next couple of years, if they continue to have the event there. And they also have the world's, what do they call it? The world's highest series that I think that used to be. The Horseshoe Bend was part of the Scenic OCR series.
Mm-hmm.
They branched off or shut down the other events just because it was so hard to do, I'm guessing. But I want to get down there for that one. And then, of course, Montana. I'm signed up for all 4 races that weekend, doing the night trail run, doing the Beast on Saturday, and then on Sunday, the Super and Sprint. Now, Montana and I have a little history. I went 2019 to Montana. That was my first Beast. I've only been doing Spartans now for 3 years, 4 years if you include this year. Before that, I did a bunch of Warrior Dashes and Rugged Maniac and smaller races and virtual races and stuff like that. But Spartans, talking about, it's the real deal. It's not a play around like the Warrior Dash. You don't just go there to drink beer. You're going to get challenged. And so I avoided Spartan. I gave every excuse that there was. And then in 2018, I finally got out on a Spartan course. And then in 2019, I finally got my first Trifecta, and it was great because I got to do a mountain series, a national series, and a couple of sprints. And Montana, I was not ready for it. Montana, the elevation is higher. So it's not that you get elevation sickness, but you get winded a little easier. Steve Hammond, when he designed that one, he used every ounce of hill he could find out there. There's a spot where you run up a hill that's a hill like this, where you're grabbing onto stuff and pulling yourself up for a quarter mile, just so you can go under a fence, turn around, and come back down the same hill on the other side of the fence. Crazy stuff that he put into that race. I showed 4,000 feet of elevation gain on that one. And I was not prepared at all for that one. And then I also made the mistake. I changed one of my medicines right before going on that one. And I didn't realize how dehydrated it was going to make me.
Oh.
So I'm out there with Jody, one of my race team. And she's like, nope, Don, you're going to make it. I'm here with you the whole race. And I think we were out there for almost 11 hours. Running a race and getting it done quickly, I really like doing that a lot more. Because when you get out and run, an hour, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, and get done with a race, it does not trash your body as much as an 11-hour slog.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was sucking down everything I could drink. I was eating, the jelly beans, pineapple, anything I could to keep myself going in that race. And, 11 hours to complete that race. And then all I did was train going into 2020. Every weekend we're out doing mileage. Every night I'm doing mileage. I'm getting ready for that race. There's a place called South Hill over here, which is literally just a big hill. And we would go there, meet Saturday mornings and go up and down until we got 10K in going up and down that hill. I was getting ready for Montana.
Yeah.
And then COVID hit. That just killed me because I was ready to go kick Montana's butt last year. And, COVID did put some of that weight back on me. I didn't train as hard as I probably should have. And when I got out on the race last weekend with Matt, I felt it a little bit. Like, man, this is not my pace. This is slow. I need to be faster than this. So when we get to Montana, when we get to that beast,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to put everything I can into that. I am not going to be out there for 11 hours running up and down the steepest hills they can find in Montana. Some of those I think were actually billy goat trails or something that just happened to find.
Wow.
The race designers are the two primary race designers that you see a lot of on Facebook and stuff is Steve Hammond and Garfield Griffiths.
Mm-hmm.
They're both from England. And they both came out here. One's down in Florida and the other one's down in California. And they do a lot of the race designs. And they are just crazy, sick people with what they come up with for us to do. Now, again, the obstacles, they're always the same. That is the one dig I have on Spartan. They get some of the most beautiful venues. They give us some very challenging races.
Mm-hmm.
They give us the same obstacles. You can only do the Herc hoist so many times, which is the one where it's a sandbag on a. Where you gotta sit there, yeah. You can only do that so many times. Now Seattle, with their spring race that they didn't run this year, that bag would actually weigh 2 to 3 times as much because it would be covered in mud, and just when you lower it back down, they'd make you do burpees if it made a noise or splashed mud, because you were sitting out there in like a foot of mud doing it. Now that is challenging. That was a little bit different, but Montana, Portland, these dry events, Seattle in the fall, they were fairly dry events, and because of that, it was just a Herc hoist. Just get out there, let it back down. All right, that was fun. Now, I will not say that I have mastered all of Spartan's obstacles because I still cannot figure out how to get my feet to do a J hook or an S hook. So the climbing of a rope has still been a little off of my radar. But here shortly, I'll be climbing a rope in my living room here until I figure it out.
Nice.
April, you're doing those races. Then you're going to Spartan in May. And this is running for recovery. You're out there, you're wearing a pink shirt that says, I'm running for recovery awareness. And all of your posts talk about that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the reason that we do it is because there's a huge stigma with recovery, drug abuse and recovery and the whole program, no matter what program it is, whether it's an AA, NA, community health, any of that stuff, there's just a real stigma with it. Very similar to the stigma of suicide. So, and mental health. So myself, I follow all of those very closely, and I've been taking a lot of classes on them myself to increase my knowledge of it and to be a better, hopefully, peer counselor when somebody needs me. But so you're getting out there, you're doing 72 races. A couple years ago, I guess now, since COVID killed 2020, but in 2019, Dragos went out and did, was it 69 races?
Yeah.
In 1 year?
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a real amazing thing to happen for him because he was able to take time off. He was able to fly to multiple countries in a position where he was just able to do it. And for you, you're doing this through a GoFundMe, you're doing this off your paychecks. You're doing this out of a love for the sport and a love for sharing the message. Just when you cross that finish line, and if you can talk about recovery with one person, that's probably, for me, that's all it is. It's just talking to that one person.
Mm-hmm.
It's been real amazing because some of the overnight adventures and stuff, I'll be sitting there and everyone will be out drinking and doing what they're doing outside, and I'm inside just hanging out in the kitchen because I'm a kitchen guy. And all of a sudden, I'll sit there and talk to a guy and find out that he's another sober buddy like me. And that's happened quite a few times. And on Facebook, we formed a group called the Silver Spartans because there's so many of us out there that obstacle course racing is our outlet. We've got addictive minds. No matter what we do, we are going to be addicted to something. So why not be addicted to something healthy like fitness?
Exactly.
Real quick, did you want to mention your GoFundMe and how to help you out on this?
Yeah, so on my Facebook page, I can go ahead, I can share it again. Or if you wouldn't mind posting it, I don't know what the link is or anything, but it's a lot of letters and numbers. But yeah,
how about I'll put it like right here across the top of the screen or something?
Yeah, that'd be great. But yeah, any kind of donations would be absolutely amazing. I am, a personal trainer and don't have the means at all, but this means more to me than anything that I've ever done. So we're just really just trying to do what we can to make it happen. And like I said, any help from anybody would be greatly appreciated.
Running these races is very expensive, and traveling to and from them is very expensive. Any race directors out there that want to reach out to Melissa and maybe invite her on their course, you can do that on Facebook and Instagram, or you can reach out to BeastNet and I'll put you guys in touch. For this next one, Terrapin is sponsored Melissa to come back, and she's going to come out and run their race, the Dirty Leprechaun. And of course, she's going to promote it on her page and hopefully get more people out for them. But at the same time, this is another opportunity for her to get out there and spread her message about her recovery and about everyone's ability to recover if they need it. Like what you hear? Make sure and subscribe and review us on your favorite podcast platform. Be sure to find us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you're using YouTube, please click the little red subscribe icon, then click the little bell for notifications of future episodes. And if you could, give us a thumbs up. So what else has 2021 got in store for you guys? As a couple, you're traveling around, you're doing stuff. Anything fun on the books?
No. There's so many races. There's not really any time for anything else.
We're not vacationing. We're just going from race to race.
Yeah.
How many of them are you running, Matt?
Oh, I don't know. I'm signed up for
quite a few.
I have 10 or 12 right now.
Okay. So a couple. You're not going to go and run 4 on a weekend or anything crazy?
I'm not going to do anything too crazy. So even the weekends that she's running 3 races or 4 races, I'm probably only running the one beast or the, one ultra beast or whatever it is,
No ultra beast.
No ultra beast. Wow.
He's hurt.
Is he going to Dallas?
Dallas for
the October Dallas Spartan?
Oh, no.
Oh, because BeastNet, we've got a team doing the Ultra Beast.
Oh, I should probably be going to that then.
It's 50 kilometers.
Into it, so
50 kilometers, 31 miles, 60 obstacles. A lot of the obstacles, at Spartan, you have a sandbag carry. We have to carry a 65-pound sandbag. Yeah. On the ultra course, they do double sandbag carries and stuff like that. So you're carrying 130 pounds instead of 65 and stuff like that. And they have time hacks. So you have the group we're working with, we've got a handful of meetup events, a couple of marathons, a couple half marathons. And then we're doing a Battle Miles death race, which if you guys want to look that up, the Battle Miles death race will definitely kick your butt if you're up for it. It's another 50-kilometer event, but this run 50 kilometers, Matt.
I can run 50 kilometers.
I did it last year 3 times. One of them I did 50 miles, not just 50 kilometers. And I can tell you that every time I did it, I asked myself, why did I do it? And then I ended up signed up to do it again.
Right.
Speaking of 50 kilometers, I just want to put a quick shout out. I don't know if you guys are in Silver Spartans and saw, but Jessica Calhoun, one of our administrators,
I did see that.
she went out and ran a 50K this weekend for the first time. And she had never run a marathon.
That's amazing.
She did a virtual one a couple of weekends ago as her last big long run. And then this was her big event this weekend. And she did her first 50K. And congrats. That's just amazing.
Yeah.
Now I got to get Matt out to do his first 50K.
Yes.
There we go.
This year for myself, I'm also throwing in trying to work out how to do the Spartan Trailfecta, which is the Spartan Trail series, which was a new series that came out in 2018, where it's a straight trail run. It's no well, I can't say it's no obstacles, because even when they say no obstacles, you still had the A-frame and a couple other things at Seattle still had to do, but it's a straight run. And it's a straight trail run. And for the Trailfecta, you have to do a 10K, a half marathon, and a 50K.
Wow.
Signed up for 3 or 4 of the 10Ks. And it looks like at their big championships down at the Golden Gate Bridge, I might have the opportunity to do the half marathon and 50K that weekend.
That's amazing.
It's stupid.
Sounds like fun.
Yep. That's the thing is every time I get out there and do this, it's like Spartan, all these other events, I get done and it's like, man, that was really stupid. I'm hurt. I'm drained. Where can I sign up another one? That's the importance of the Spartan exit tent. They got a tent there where they're selling you discount codes to the next race on your way out the door.
Yeah.
So that when you're beat and you're worn down, you're ready for that next medal.
Thanks for listening to the BeastNet podcast. If you haven't done it yet, find us on Facebook, like and share the podcast. Give us a review on iTunes or Spotify. All these things will help to expand the show in the future. Don't forget to subscribe and let us know what you think and what you'd like to hear.